So I don't know if you know this about me, but I have terrible FOMO about things like this.
You can't sit with us!
Toskovat says they're going to release a brand new fragrance and it's going to be limited to 300 bottles. So the morning it went on sale, I said add to cart. I didn't even know what it smelled like.
That's a write-off.
That's a write-off?
Yeah.
Do you even know what a write-off is?
It is called Domus Numeni, and this was $720 worth of FOMO. Today we're going to be reviewing the limited release by Toskovat called Domus Numeni. I'm going to tell you what it's all about, and at the end I'm going to give you my 2 cents. So let's get going. Alright, hi everyone, this is My 2 Cents. My name is Sean. If you are a new viewer, welcome to the channel, and if you've already seen our videos, then welcome back. So before we get started, I do want to say if you're a fan of fast-paced fragrance reviews and you're not already subscribed, please hit the subscribe button so you don't miss all of the important things that I have to say, and also because the algorithm really likes it when you do that. I've already explained to you what we're going to do today. We are going to review a limited edition fragrance by Toskovat that was limited to only 300 bottles. So the perfumer of this house is a man named David Lev Slavinsky. He is based in Romania, and all of the fragrances are based on memories. Some of them good and some of them bad. I've already reviewed 2 other fragrances here on the channel, so you can go have a look at those. One of them is very wearable, Empty Wish as well. The other one, not so much. It's called Inexcusable Evil. So, Domus Numeni, what is this all about? One of the past fragrances of Toskovat is a fragrance called Take Me to Church. I think it may be the only one that has been discontinued since. If you look at Fragrantica, it says it's a discontinued fragrance, but it was all about smelling like church. When this one was announced on the Toskovat website, it labeled it as a 3rd anniversary for Take Me to Church, but it had some different ingredients, making it a little bit more robust, making it a little bit stronger, giving it a little bit more character perhaps. On the Toskovat website where it was for sale, they announced that there was going to be a giveaway if you purchased this fragrance. If you bought Domus Numeni, one of the 300 bottles, you were entered in a giveaway. First prize was going to be a trip to Romania to meet with David, go through some of his fragrances. That trip has come and gone. I didn't win. But that said, I have the fragrance. They also let you know that if you buy this fragrance, it came with a piece of jewelry made of silver, gold, flake, and diamond. So that underscores the price of the fragrance. On the opening, I did say it was quite expensive. It's listed on the website at 570 euros in Europe. I think it was $674 for US buyers. But I said add to cart. I said this will be a great one to have in my collection because I do admire the House of Toskovat, and also because it'll be a good one for a review. So if you know about Toskovat, they all come in this shape box. This one specifically comes with a sleeve over it with the Domus Numeni written in gold, but the typical Toskovat box is inside. It doesn't have the name on the back like the other ones do because it has the sleeve, but let's get into seeing what's included inside this package. There's some information included here about the designer of the box, and there's also a piece of artwork which shows a bunch of Toskovat bottles stacked on top of each other. On the reverse side, it tells you the details about the sweepstakes, about the giveaway, which I've already lost. And as usual, there is an envelope that says I remember, which has some pros in it and 3 different images. So the first image is a bunch of Toskovat boxes with a hand coming out of them. We've got what looks like a man standing there soaking wet. He's got no head. The last one looks like a stump. Maybe it looks like a map on top with somebody crushing something on the map. If you know anything about these, let me know what we're looking at. And then there is a little bit of prose inside, as there usually is. The prose talks about returning home. It talks about looking up to a man, maybe a priest because it mentions his robes. And then it says something about a part of me has died. So seems like it's going to be a dark fragrance. It says thank you for joining me. You're welcome. All right, so usually inside the Toskovat box there is a bag which you can carry your bottle in, but in this case there is a lovely piece of jewelry in here. So I'm not so sure what's on the necklace. I'll give you a little bit of a close-up there, but so this idea that this fragrance is limited edition, the exclusive giveaway, and the jewelry that comes with it, and the exclusive design on the box underscores this idea as not just a fragrance, but this is really a collector's piece as well. So in this case, Toskovat has put all of the notes right on the packaging, so I'm going to let you know what those are rather than go to Fragrantica. In the top notes, we've got pepper, solar notes, cloves, palinka, elemi, and 3 metal nails. In the middle, we've got candle wax, olibanum, myrrh, father's jacket, black sacro resin, green sacro resin, and Oman Hojari resin. In the base, you've got dust, papyrus, hydrocarboresin, ambrette seeds, birch tar, grave flowers, also listed here as immortelle, and Vietnamese oud. So the oud is where this changes the fragrance from the original one. I kind of remember listening to an interview with David on Instagram where he said that the addition of the oud is what sets this apart from the original fragrance, Take Me to Church. Also a great name. I never smelled the original one, so I don't know how to compare it, but I'm gonna go ahead and spray this on my hand and I'll let you know what I think about it. So the bottle in this case is labeled black, just like Inexcusable Evil. Usually the labels are white. On the reverse side, instead of saying, I remember, this one has the numbering of the bottle. So my bottle was bottle 295 out of 300. I'm gonna go ahead and spray it and I'll let you know how I feel about it. That is church. There's a crisp metallicness at the opening. You've got pepper in here. You definitely can smell a resin. There's a softness to it. There's definitely that metal note. So you definitely get sort of a metallic note at the beginning. You get the resinous note. You get the pepper. There's a little bit of spice there. There's something in here. I think it said father's robes, and I'm assuming that's supposed to be a priest's robes, but there's something almost textile here. You can almost smell like an old textile or an old book maybe. There's something vintage, there's something deliberately musky, there's something deliberately almost dusty, and you definitely get solid frankincense, solid myrrh here. There's something dirty in here, and I'm assuming that's the Vietnamese oud. The oud adds a little bit of dirtiness to it, which sort of changes it a little bit. It gives it the tiniest bit of an animalic tinge at the bottom. I'd be interested to know what this smelled like before the oud was added. I'm not getting the same church vibes that I get out of Purpose 50 by Amouage. That one's a little bit creamier, a little bit easier to wear, not so in your face. I'm getting a little bit here of Full Incense by Montal without the overtly incense nature of it because there's so much else going on here. As I've continued to wear it, as I've been standing here, it's definitely a measured dosing of the different ingredients. There's not one section of this fragrance that feels like it's supposed to be that much different than the other ones. It seems like everything's pretty much blended well together so that not one section of this fragrance, be it the front of it, the middle, or the dry down, overpowers the others. So what I'm saying is it still keeps it linear. You get the oud at the front, but you get it also at the end. It's a little bit stronger now. It's not like it was gone and then it dries down and then all of a sudden you get the oud. One of the things I did expect about this fragrance is I thought it would be one of those beast mode, just completely in your face fragrances. That's not what you get here. Domus Numeni is a little bit more introspective. It's more of a quiet scent. It's not one of those oud fragrances that's going to be completely in your face. The oud here is used very deliberately. It's used to enhance the other ingredients. I didn't watch all of the interviews with David, so I'm not sure what the reason was for including oud in the original scent. The original Take Me to Church scent gets some really good reviews online, so it seems like people were fond of it. This is a very calming fragrance. This isn't something that you're going to wear to announce yourself in a group of people. This is quiet, this is introspective, this is a cozy fragrance. There's something almost reflective about it. It's something that you might wear in solitude. I don't want to say that because you can definitely wear this going out, but this isn't going to be the type of thing that you're going to wear to a scene, like a crowded bar or to a dance club. You wear this fragrance when you want to create an atmosphere. You want to create a mood. You're not looking to just be the center of attention. You're not looking to have a bunch of people ask you what you're wearing. All right, so let me give you my 2 cents on Domus Numeni by Toskovat. Honestly, it's probably the only money I have left. All right, so what's good about this fragrance? This fragrance is a very strongly realized conceptual fragrance. It's going for church vibes. It's giving you 100% church vibes with very little compromise. This feels like a church interior. It feels ritualistic. It's not giving you overly strong oud and amber. The oud here is only meant to enhance the fragrance, and that's exactly what it does. This isn't just a passive fragrance. This isn't going to be for the casual wear. This is meant for a collector. When you go ahead and you include a piece of jewelry with a fragrance, you change the color of the cap, you change the color of the label, and you individually number them out of 300, you're looking for a collector. You're looking for somebody who's going to want to spend a lot of money to have this in their collection. And that's basically why I bought it. I found it interesting. I had talked to David at Toskovat beforehand, wondering when it was going to go on sale. I think it was August 27th. Mine just came this week, and it's already deep into October. All right, and on the other side, there are some risks involved with buying something like this. At over $700 a bottle, you're paying for the storage, story, you're paying for the exclusivity, you're paying for the jewelry as much as you are paying for the scent. Most of Toskovat's fragrances are on the expensive side to begin with. Most of the ones behind me are about $200 to $300 to $400 each. This one takes the cake at over $700. I did a whole video about the fact that Creed Oud Zarian is the most expensive fragrance in my collection at $700, but that's a 100 ml bottle. This one here is a 60 ml bottle for $700. On top of that, there was an over $40 delivery fee, and then there were a series of tariffs that needed to be paid so that it could be delivered. I'll go into that in another whole video. That's probably going to be the next video, so stay tuned, put on the reminder, click the bell, that sort of thing, so that you get reminded of it. This was the hardest to get fragrance in my entire collection. And then on the other hand, if you know anything about Toskovat, you know that sampling these fragrances is nearly impossible. They do a drop on their website. 2 days later, it disappears. Certain fragrances you won't see again for several months. Finding them in the stores is even more challenging. Because of the scarcity of this fragrance, smelling it was impossible. This had to be a blind buy. This is one of those buy or regret it later fragrances. If you didn't jump on the chance to get it at only 300 bottles, you were going to be disappointed later. So do I like the fragrance? Yeah, I really like the fragrance. I respect it. I respect the notes. It's one of those fragrances that creates a space, it creates an atmosphere, it invites reflection, and it uses the materials wisely. I don't think that this is a fragrance that I would use for daily wear. This is a dark fragrance. This is something that you'd wear at nighttime. This is something that you'd wear in winter. It's a good fragrance for fall, but it can't be a signature scent, and that's almost frustrating for me. If you really like this fragrance, because of the price, because of the limited availability of it, you can never make this a signature scent. So this is going to be one of those special occasion scents or something to keep in your collection because you want to be able to share it with your friends and family. But because of the exclusivity and because it's so expensive, this isn't a fragrance that can be worn lightly. It has to be worn with intention. All right, that was my 2 cents on Toskovat's Domus Numeni. If you're curious about this fragrance, leave me a comment. I'll definitely get back to you and I'll let you know. If you have any questions about Domus Numeni, definitely let me know. Write a comment. I get back to all the comments. If you liked this review, give me a thumbs up. If you're curious about it, ask me questions. I can tell you all about it. It's a great fragrance. I'm not going to knock it. I went through literal hell to get this delivered. It's the most difficult to get fragrance that I've ever had. It ultimately ended up costing me over $800 to get this fragrance, including the delivery and the price of the fragrance. I'm going to put that in another review. That's going to be the next one up on the channel, so definitely turn on the bell so you can be reminded when that one gets published. But other than that, I do. I love it. I think what David does is unique. I have to say, in the troubles that I had getting it delivered, he was very receptive and very responsive to all of my emails and my messages on Instagram, so thank you, David, for all of that. But that's it for Domus Numeni. If you aren't subscribed and you loved this review, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I always point down there, but I don't know if that's where it is. But thanks for watching. Once again, this was my 2 cents. My name is Sean, and I hope to see you next episode.